Okay, one of the books that I had on syllabus as a reading material was the Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. And I was going to try to figure out how we would incorporate different readings here. I guess one of the ways to do that is that I can read some sections and have you think about it a little bit and add in. Okay, we'll see how that goes. So in this one, I want to just get a little bit of background for those that not. Aldo Leopold was a professor at University of Wisconsin at Madison in the early 1920 through about 1948 when he passed away. He was the first professor in wildlife ecology, first known as the father of wildlife ecology, and was heavily involved in soil conservation and conservation practices throughout Wisconsin. If you're not familiar, the Soil Conservation Service, which is now called the Natural Resource Conservation Service, a branch of the USDA, had its start in Coon Valley, Wisconsin, just outside of La Crosse, dealing with soil erosion problems in the Driftless area of Wisconsin. Aldo Leopold was a big part of the scientists and people who worked on that. But I was just going to read a few passages here from the book and from the land ethic, which I to talk a little more about. From the foreword, there are some who can live without wild things, and some who cannot. These essays are the delights and dilemmas of one who cannot. Like winds and sunsets, wild things were taken for granted until progress began to do away. Now we face the question whether a still higher standard of living is worth its cost in things natural, wild, and free. For us of the minority, the opportunity to see geese is more important than television, and the chance to find a pacifier is a right as inalienable as free speech. These wild things, I admit, had little human value until mechanization assured us a good breakfast, and until science disclosed the drama of where they come from and how they live. The whole conflict thus boils down to a question of degree. We of the minority see the law of diminishing returns and progress. Our opponents do not. One must make shift with things as they are. These essays are my shifts. They are grouped in three parts. Part one tells what my family sees and does at its weekend refuge from too much modernity, the shack. On this sand farm in Wisconsin, first worn out and then abandoned by our bigger and better society, we try to rebuild with shovel and axe what we are losing elsewhere. It is here that we seek and still find our meat from God. The shack sketches are arranged seasonally as the Sand County Almanac. Part 2, sketches from here and there, recounts some of the episodes in my life that taught me, gradually and sometimes painfully, that the company is out of step. These episodes, scattered over a continent and through 40 years of time, present a fair sample of the issues that bear the collective label conservation. In Part 3, the upshot sets forth in more logical terms some of the ideas whereby we dissenters rationalize our dissent. Only the very sympathetic reader will wish to wrestle with the philosophical questions of Part 3. I suppose it may be said that these essays tell the company how it may get back instantly. Conservation is getting nowhere because it is incompatible with our Abrahamic concept of land. We abuse the land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. There is no other way for land to survive and the impact of mechanized man, nor for us to reap from the ascetic harvest that it is capable, under science, and contributing to culture. The land as a community is the basic concept of ecology, but the land is to be loved and respected as an extension of ethics. The land yields cultural harvest is a fact long known, but latterly often forgotten. These essays attempt to weld these three concepts. Such a view of land and people is, of course, subject to the blurs and distortions of personal experience and personal bias. But wherever the truth may lie, this much is crystal clear. our bigger and better society is now like a hypochondriac, so obsessed with its own economic health as to have lost the capacity to remain healthy. The whole world is so greedy for more bathtubs that it has lost the stability necessary to build them, or even to turn off the tap. Nothing could be more salutary at this stage than a little healthy contempt for a plethora of material blessings. Perhaps such a shift of values can be achieved by reappraising things unnatural, tame, and confined in terms of things natural, wild, and free. Alva Leopold, Madison, Wisconsin, 4 March 1948. Part of the reason I wanted to bring this book into this course is it's been my experience over the past 20 years or so working in Wisconsin agriculture that by and large most farmers really do have a deep love and appreciation for the land. And by introducing the land ethic here and the opportunity to define the land ethic for yourself and what that looks like, that's what I'm going to post on our Blackboard site, a blank sheet of paper that said, well, not quite blank, it'll say a land ethic at the top. And take that and use that for yourself and write it out. What does your land ethic look like? Define that for yourself. Maybe that would become part of your mission statement if you're building your business plan. Maybe that'll just be a guiding principle for you in your future. Let's now take a little bit of a look and understand what Alva Leopold meant by a land ethic. I'm probably not going to read the whole book this way, but I hope you will spend a little more time reading the rest of the book yourself. Some of the essays are really wonderful. I read it once or twice a year myself. So back in the land ethic part of this, there is as yet no ethic dealing with man's relationship to the land or to the animals and plants which grow on it. Land, like Odysseus' slave girls, is still property. The land relation is still strictly economic, entailing privileges but not obligation. The extension of ethics to this third element in human environment is, if I read the evidence correctly, an evolutionary possibility and an ecological necessity. It is the third step in a sequence. The first two have already been taken. All right, the community concept. All ethics so far evolved rest upon a single premise, that the individual is a member of a community of interdependent parts. His instincts prompt him to compete for his place in that community, but his ethics prompt him also to cooperate, perhaps in order that there may be a place to compete for. The land ethic simply enlarges the boundaries of community to include the soils, waters, plants, and animals, or collectively, the land. A little bit farther down, in short, a land ethic changes the role of Homo sapiens from conqueror of the land community to plain member and citizen of it. It implies respect for his fellow members and also respect for the community as such. And again, a little farther back in the first paragraph of the outline, it is inconceivable to me that an ethical relation to the land can exist without love, respect, and admiration for the land, and a high regard for its value. By value, I of course mean something far broader than mere economic value. I mean the value in a philosophical sense. And near the end of the land ethic, I have purposely presented the land ethic as a product of social evolution because nothing so important as an ethic is ever written. Only the most superficial student of history supposes that Moses wrote the Decalogue. It evolved in the minds of a thinking community, and Moses wrote the tentative summary of it for a seminar. I say tentative because evolution never stops. The evolution of a land ethic is an intellectual as well as emotional process. Conservation is paved with good intentions which prove to be futile or even dangerous because they are devoid of critical understanding either of the land or of the economic land use. I think it is a truism that as the ethical frontier advances from the individual to the community, its intellectual content increases. The mechanism of operation is the same for any ethic. Social approbation for right action, social disapproval for wrong actions. By and large, our present problem is one of attitudes and implements. We are remodeling the Alhambra with a steam shovel, and we are proud of our yardage. We should hardly relinquish a shovel, which, after all, has many good points, but we are in need of a gentler, more objective criteria to use. Well, there's a lot of great essays in this book, and I would encourage you to take some time and read them, and then you can post some of your thoughts on those discussion boards. As I said, I'm going to put on our website a page for you to go ahead and start thinking about this. What does our thinking community look like? What does it mean to you? What is a land ethic? To me, I'll share with you my own writing on that as well if you want to see that, and we'll go from there.